Hello everyone, my name is Kapil Gupta. A lot of you here know me, some of you don't. I'm the founder of Solh Wellness. We are perhaps India's first mental health platform. I will get into more details of Solh Wellness in a little bit. Now, what I will do is, I want to start off by asking everybody, if you can go to the next slide, Kapil.
Kapil, next slide, please. And can
Do you know somebody who needs help?
Yeah.
In your lives, do you know somebody who needs some sort of mental health support, is going through extreme sadness, is going through some sort of issues, is probably on the verge of entering into depression, is probably having a lot of anxiety or some other challenges? Can I see a raise of hands of number of people who have somebody in their life that has, one person at least that needs support? Okay, so nearly 50-60% people here think they have somebody in their life who needs support. Can you go to the next one?
Next slide.
Do you? I guess that's really the question that I started Solh Wellness with. The question is not, is there somebody else in your life that requires any sort of mental health support, that needs any sort of help in their life? The question is, do you, as individuals, think you need help? Now I will ask you guys to do an exercise as well. So let's play this game. I'm sure a lot of you who drink and a lot of you who don't drink would have played this game in parties, events, with your friends and all. Never have I ever. Let's go to the next slide. I want you guys to look at this sheet and do a never have I ever in this. And I want you guys to look at, do you have 3 things where you tick? So, felt that I can't function, felt alone in a room full of people, had self-esteem lower than the pits of hell, felt misunderstood by family and friends, felt like I was being judged, had unshareable thoughts, sobbed alone, wanted someone to talk to but didn't know who, talked to a stranger and felt amazing. How many people have, ticked on all of them?
Most of them.
How many people have 3 at least? It's 2:30, so I expect 10% crowd to be sleeping. But I'm so glad most people have at least 3. Now let me say this: if you had 3 things here in the list and you listed and you ticked them off, you need mental wellness support. I'm not suggesting you guys are sick. I'm not suggesting you suffer from a bipolar disorder or anxiety or clinical depression or something. What I'm suggesting is, if you take 3 of the things on this table, you need mental health support. What has happened, and this is what we are seeing in all our research. In fact, this was one of the reasons that we started Solh Wellness. The ground underneath us all has shifted. We were in a world that had increasing amount of stress over the last many decades. Increasing probably, since the dawn of humanity, but specifically in the last few decades, specifically with the advent of technology. And then came COVID. And it, in a lot of ways, destroyed mental peace for people. It added this new layer of stress in everybody's life. Stress not of catching COVID. Yeah, that's a stress. Stress not really of suffering from a sickness. Stress not really of work life. Stress not really of career. Stress not really because economy is getting into recession, which it is, by the way. Stress not because of any individual element, but combine all of these, and combine all of these for yourself, for everybody around you, and the entire ecosystem, and you start to see where I'm coming from. This one aspect is where we want to come in, and we look at ourselves as a preventive mental health platform. And we'll talk in a few minutes a little more about it next. Well, why do people have mental health issues? And why are they not able to resolve them by themselves? Why? So what is soul wellness in the business about? Right? Number one, mental health itself is taboo. Number two, people fear if they share with anybody, they will be judged. I don't care, it's your parents or it's your best friend or it's your sibling or it's your soulmate for that matter. You share it with somebody and you will be judged. At least that's the perception people move around with, and their perception for the most part is fairly well grounded in reality. Next. Getting misused. Next. And what I consider as extremely important, trivialized. I mean, as I was saying earlier, my daughter has not yet arrived, but she may come to me one day and say, I have this crush on this boy. And my answer will be, don't worry, you'll get over it. For her, it may be a question of life and death. But for me, or for a lot of people, it would simply be, you'll get over it. That's not what she wants to hear. That's not what she's suffering from. That's not what she's facing in her life. So she needs a much more intricate, a much more combined kind of a comprehensive solution for herself. This is what in all our research we looked at as what we call as the process of depression. There is a point of time when a person gets sad and a person gets lonely. Over a period of time, since it doesn't get relieved by itself, the person becomes dejected. Once the person becomes dejected, it starts to reinforce itself. I'm not suggesting between these times the person doesn't feel happy at all, but the sadness keeps coming back. And then there is a point of time that the person becomes hopeless. Post that comes what is called as clinical depression. If there is one thing that I want to do, as a mission for myself, is to change the curve of the cycle. I want to take people from within this cycle out. So, as soul wellness, my mission is very simple. While I will love to work with people who have depression and help them with some support, while I would love to work with people who have learning disability or people who have other sorts of medical mental sicknesses, in providing and in working with them, my single one-line mission is, can I reduce the number of people who are sad and lonely, headed towards depression, into actually getting into depression? Can I simply change this curve a little bit and take people out of this particular stage of entering into depression and provide them with something? Next slide. Now, there is this concept in our, as humans, where we will go to everybody around and we will say, be powerful, be strong, learn to deal with issues, learn to deal with relationships, learn to do this, learn to do that. While all that is good, and that's really the answer to mental wellness. The problem is nobody says how. Soul wellness wants to be in the business of answering the how. We want to empower people with tools that they may require, that can equip them with the right kind of solutions to be able to resolve their mental wellness issues. Next. I'll go through this very quickly since I know we are a little late. What we want to provide is a non-judgmental external ear to listen. A place where people can simply come and they can express themselves. Okay, and I will, in the next slides, I will talk and mention what does this express themselves really mean. Next slide. First part of expressing themselves is what we call as journaling. Journaling by itself means you go to the platform and you write you write a journal. In a lot of ways, journaling for me is something very similar to Instagram. The only difference between this journaling area for me and Instagram is this is a committed mental health space. So you will not have people talk about food that they did not eat, life that they don't have, people that they did not meet, and places that they did not travel. This is committed mental health space. So the conversations are going to be very mental health centric. Within that concept of having conversations which are mental health centric, we will have a marketplace model. Next slide. That marketplace model is what makes it the most exciting. There will be medical professionals, there will be therapists, counselors, and going down to there will be normal people like us who will say, well, you know what, I want to volunteer to help somebody with their mental health issues. Who am I? I'm 21-year-old. I'm in my third year of college. But I think I want to volunteer. I think I want to help. That is what I call as an unrelated peer. And a lot of mental wellness challenges, as I said in the last slide as well, are purely about having an external non-judgmental ear that will listen to you. For us, this unrelated peer is where it all starts. Next. Then expert counseling. So, as I said, there is an unrelated peer, somebody who is very similar to, you are studying in college A, that person is studying in college B, probably in a very similar environment. Then it could be somebody who is a little senior to you. Then it could be a psychology major, right out of college. Then it could be a counselor, therapist, somebody, going all the way up to a psychiatrist. Depending on what your concern is, depending on what support you are looking for, and we will create it like a marketplace. Here in the journaling area, I was talking about an Instagram to give you a reference. Here I would talk like a Zomato. We will give you badgification, we will give you ratings, we will tell you which person has had previous good feedback, which person has worked with us. The medical professionals, of course, will have their degrees verified, and they have to go through a full process for them to come on board. But what we want to create is this marketplace, where people are able to come and where people are able to gather all the tools that they may require for them to resolve their mental wellness concerns. Next. And of course, last but definitely not the least, group support. There will be groups that will be around all key issues. There will be a group for work-life balance, there will be a group for parenting, there will be a group for de-addiction, there will be a group for women empowerment, there will be a group for LGBTQ, and all the other important, there will be of course groups around career and other aspects, but all of this. And I want you to think about it in two different forms. One is mental wellness, and second is pure play counseling. Counseling around important areas in your life. Now, while we are creating this, where is it that you can contribute? There are three models in which all of you, any of you can associate with us. Well, before I start with these three models, let me talk about the fourth model. Download the application, be a user of the application. That's the right place for everybody to start. And as I said, it's a marketplace. When you come in, you can be a seeker, you can be a provider, or you can be both. Everybody will always be a seeker. Okay? We think in our research, one of the fundamental areas where there is a huge requirement of mental wellness is people that actually deal with people in mental wellness, or the doctors across various industries, various healthcare aspects. In fact, I was just reading about there is this requirement that has come up in Uttarakhand now, where for certain courses you need to go through some mental health practicing courses before you are allowed to take those jobs. So, there is a lot of stuff that is happening in that area, but really for us, that's a very important part. Everybody can be a seeker. Everybody is a seeker. You can choose to be a provider as well in your own capacity, whether it is as a volunteer or whether it is as an expert medical professional, whether it is free of charge or whether it is paid, whether it is offline or whether it is online. All of those models are always going to be available there. Well, one aspect is intern with us. Specifically for people younger, the younger audience, if you want to associate, if you think you want to participate in mental health area, if you think it's a problem where you can have something to contribute to, please come with us, do an internship with us. It's a paid internship. There are of course formalities and aspects within that that the team can provide you. Anybody that is wearing a Solh t-shirt today will be able to help you answer some of the questions you may have. Next. Be a provider. As I said earlier, you can register yourself as a provider. And third, we have a very interesting program called as Friends of Solh. What we are looking for, and Shama really for us is a part of the Friends of Solh program. What we are really looking for is to get like-minded people, people who are reasonably. In fact, I also have one more person here, Ms. Rajni Sani, who is also part of our Friends of Soul program. What we are essentially looking to do is we are looking at developing this large presence where we get people that want to participate in the mental wellness industry and don't have much avenues, don't have much places, don't have the right kind of intersection points for them to participate. For them, we are starting this initiative called as Friends of Soul. Today, being a startup, being a self-funded organization, we are saying, come work with us. Tomorrow, as the model matures, as we grow, this is going to become a good, lucrative financial model because we will tie some soul equity with this. And how I look at this, either we will end up being, a non-profit company, or a company that did not make much profit, in which case, nobody makes much money, or we will end up being this behemoth, in which case everybody that is part of the Friends of Soul program will end up, getting good value. Next slide. Now, how I have always looked at mental health is it's always late. You can never start your mental wellness journey on time. It's always late. But at the same time, it's never too late. If you haven't started yet, if you haven't thought about where you may be suffering, if you haven't thought about the intersection points for you, if you haven't really looked at where you can do, please start now. Please start right after this particular session. Please start right after today's event by downloading the Soul Wellness application, and that's probably the first step for everybody to take to begin their mental wellness journey. And of course, work with the team that is here. Whether you want to be an intern, whether you want to be a volunteer, whether you want to be a provider, or whether you think you want to be part of the Friends of Soul program. Mental wellness for us, for soul wellness, mental health and mental wellness is not an issue for people suffering from depression, people suffering from stress, and people suffering from anxiety. It is. They are people that will get value from what we are doing. But what we are most interested in is to break the cycle. It is to look at people that get sad and lonely, and then that percolates itself, that reinforces, that gets to the state of being hopeless, and then they get into the stage of clinical depression. What we are looking at doing, and I mentioned this in the afternoon when we started off as well, at Soul, my single point mission, if I could accomplish something, is to change the percentage of people, reduce the percentage of people that go from this sad and lonely stage to the stage of depression. We live in very interesting times. Mental stress is there for everyone. I mean, it's there for the mothers more because they are managing the house, but it's there for the fathers. And not just, it doesn't even end there. It's there for the kids, it's there for the older people, it's there for the singles, it's there for those in a relationship, it's there for everyone. While I'm sure this mental stress has expanded over the years, the last 3 years, specifically with Corona, specifically with the COVID world, where everybody's life completely altered, I think the stress in our lives has gone to the next level. It's a change that we were not prepared for. It's a change that we still haven't adapted to. Yeah, we can all live in isolation now. We all know how to quarantine. We have increased our vocabulary by lockdowns and quarantines and isolation and a few other words. But we still haven't accommodated ourselves to this new world. Soul Wellness is our mission. It is our concept to provide tools and solutions, to provide alternatives, to provide opportunities for people to break the cycle. Hence, I would request all of you to join us, to be a part of what we are doing. And as I mentioned earlier in the day, you can either as a student come and intern with us, or you can as a professional come and be a provider for our marketplace, or you can as somebody interested in mental wellness come and be part of our Friends of Soul advisory program. There are other opportunities, of course, that will keep on coming up as we move along the journey of mental wellness for us. At the end of the day, if this becomes an initiative, and Pranav and I and our two doctor friends, that have started Solh Wellness, we are very clear. If Solh Wellness becomes an altruistic initiative, a philanthropic initiative, where it provides value to people, we will be incredibly happy. If it becomes something bigger than that and makes us more money, we'll be happier. So with that, thank you so much everybody. Let me call now Lavina to deliver the final
I would
things.
like to add something here. Kapil.
Yes, please.
I have downloaded the app a couple of days back because sometimes we don't even know that we are dealing with this kind of issue because you have a mood board every day.
Mhm.
Are you happy or something? And when I was taking care for 4 days consecutively, I was in a bad mood. I had a self-realization. I need to work on myself. So it is helping me a lot.
What will be really amazing is when you will keep on doing it, there is an analytics that sits behind. So you at the end, at some point of time, you will be able to go in and say, I was unhappy for 4 days, but then I was happy for 3 days.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, when they will look at it, the triggers won't really be visible. I mean, I know so many people who wake up one day and they are extremely energetic and excited. And then they wake up the next day and they are down and dull and drowsy. Nothing has changed fundamentally. It's just a conversation that keep on having in their own heads. With that, I come to an end of my talk and let me hand it over to Kavya. We are not too late. I think we are 5-10 minutes behind schedule, so we should be able to pick it up. Thank you so much, everybody. Once again, on behalf of Solh Wellness, I want to welcome all of you for being here and thank you so much for taking your time out. Thanks.